I said, young man, I got me up. I want to let be live where I swear. Now he said, I've been rapping my own man, I'm getting the market was doing, I'm bringing the profit. On my way, people calling me names, all the trouble I see, I ain't do at the peace. When the suffering, the success, I can't pay the poor, only how I get paid. Sooner or later, my hustle pay. Let pay, and I'm rushing myself. Keep it cool, everything have a season. Too much rushing, I probably chasing. One day. One day. I'll get it cool. One day.
I'm also gonna pay one day. Any mess can go see my face. Me pa know I'm not watching me. One day, success gonna come my way. I know my hustle gonna pay one day. Any mess can gonna see my face. Me pa know I'm not watching me. One day, success gonna come my way. Yeah. My mama was so worried. My papa was so worried. My friend was your money. Any mess that will come on that knees. So I'm my way. 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 I'm my I'm on my way to this place and I'm looking for money. Looking for money, looking for money. I want to make mama happy. Want to make papa happy. Want to make my brothers and sisters to come around me. Yeah, happy to go. Right now you hustle. Why saying the book by the Genesis? Shall come to fire, shall come to power. I feel never working on Wednesday. In my love for the ma, in my love for the ma. All in the dark, all in the dark, all in the week, all in the week. All in the sun, Mama was so much you. My papa was so worried. My friend was your money. Any mess that will come on that knees. So I'm my way. 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 I'm my way.
Amando, you are a famous star now. So what is
be on it? So they currently at the US Embassy. So they trying to they have traveled peacefully from the one house from this part at the US Embassy.
Don't present our.
I'm speaking to you.
Go ahead. All right, thank you. Yeah. No. We're yeah. We are from the University of Liberia, one of the Gambia today. I submit our petition to our partners, the United States. No. Students of the University of Liberia have gathered one of the organizations to the
So the police is trying to handle this process, and matter of fact, they've been peaceful all through of the cases we've done. They've been so the police is trying to. So someone is coming to receive their petition, but they are actually in peace with the police, as well as the police is also in peace with them. So let's hope that we.
The way justice see, I way want to see. The way justice see, I way want to see. The way money, the way justice, the way justice, we want 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 justice.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, men and women. Welcome to Attorney Commander J.R. Glapohkpa Chesson talk show. It's in the lower 60s, lower to middle 60s in Providence, Rhode Island this morning. It's going to be a hot wave, a hot wave. Forget about the heat. We're passing heat today. We're going to hot. Okay, we're going to start with a 93 up there. Going to be high for the day. But you know, what we expect to happen may not be what will happen. But we expect a heat wave today across New England. So be careful. You go into the beach, take heed and govern yourselves accordingly. Safety first. Watch the sun. Find the shade. You could get sick, stroke, heat stroke. So be careful. Find a shade. It's going to be hot today. It was hot yesterday too, but today it's going to be hot. So my topics for today are: 1, God saves Liberia when our leadership fails. 2, Dr. Prescod, community self-help, vocational baking school on the Buduburam refugee camp in Ghana. So let me take my coffee break. And as sad as it is in my country today, as sad as it is to see students of the University of Liberia trampled upon, stoned, beaten up because they're standing up in a system of democracy for change. In 1980, we had a revolution to change all of this. It wasn't Doe that did it. This revolution was inspired by our educated men and women, young, progressive, in their own ways, a little immature and small-minded. But in spite of all of that, they brought up and about a massive revolution that was greeted by all the people in our country. This revolution led to a military coup and the killing of our leaders, our fathers and mothers, not only of the Congo people, of every tribal group in our society that supported the First Republic. People were killed. People went from house to house hunting people and killing them for what they did, or for what they thought they did, or for what they had and the people wanted. So they went in droves, and because after the coup we had a lawless situation for about a week. It was just do what you want to do in Liberia. That's why I went in hiding, because people attempted to kill me many times. So I couldn't stay around people. I didn't know who to trust. I had to go in the bushes. I would come out only at night. People, when they see me, that was a nice part about it. They were all around campus. Oh, Chesson was here. Chesson was there. Chesson. I would just slip back into the forest and sleep somewhere and pop up in the night somewhere on campus. But, for me, it was an adventure. But it was serious. It was serious. People died. People were hurt. I've been protected by the Holy Ghost. So those things, when we're going through all that turmoil in my country, I knew I was protected. I felt protected. But the human nature of it was that I always had a fear in the back of my head, because before the coup, I knew changes were coming to my country. I welcomed it, but I didn't know to the extent to which the changes in my country will impact my own family. So when the changes came, I had to accept it. I had to be strong. When they killed my father, when they killed my relatives, when they ripped my families, I had to pray about it. Because that was a revolution. We all pray for the change. We all pray for whether we supported Baka, maybe or not, but many of us knew our country had to change. The suffering was too much. The changes were coming too slow. Then talk about started turning to nepotism. And that fear that scared the people in the country more. So change was inevitable. And many of us welcome change too. Even some of us who were children of the leaders of our country welcome it. Especially those that of us who were outside children, who were not benefiting from our father's wealth and status by being part of the inside children, by being part of the children who were of the Wedlock family. So most of us who were outside were revolutionaries. Because despite the fact that many of us did benefit from our fathers by going to school and all of that, those were some of the things we were supported by our fathers. But our involvement with the society that we live in was different from the society that my father and his people lived in. So we had to adjust to our society that we grew up in. It was not a matter of choosing. No one had to choose. We knew where we stood. From the time I was born, I knew I was a man of the people. Because there were some things I saw other people doing that were wrong. But to them, it didn't matter because they were elite. Then I had to come among the poor people that I live among to justify my situation for being involved with those people. It was funny. It was funny. All my life I've been trying to justify some shit. And he ain't right. He ain't right. I'm struggling myself to survive and I still got to explain other people's bullshit to the masses of my people. Ain't right. Ain't right. Especially when you see some of your own people doing some shit that's wrong. And you're telling them, man, that shit's not right, man. And they're telling you, oh my God, away from you, man. And they should be jailed and flogged. But because of the system we're in, that kind of thing, they're allowed to do with impunity. And you know how many of us were against those kind of things? But when people are raised in privileged conditions or underprivileged conditions, certain things don't matter to them until they really feel the pinch of life, as life really is. As we used to say, when you come into real life, you leave college life, you leave that home life, and you come into real life like a real man to hold your own burden and stand your own weight. Then you will realize that, no. Oh, that thing wasn't right I did. That thing wasn't right, but it'll be too late sometimes. Because at that time, other people want retribution. They ain't got time for your explanation or plea for forgiveness and things like that. No, they ain't got time for that. You got to stand your own ground. And are you worth it? That's the question. And you see, there's two sides to every coin. In spite of the fact that some of us who were born under wedlock and had to live with the master of the people, in spite of the fact that our parents were big shots in the government and had big family and was big socialites, we were not privileged to all that kind of thing. So those of us who grew up with the people, it was two-sided coins. Some of us wanted more. So they became deceptive, untrustworthy. Following the phrase, among my mother's children, I love myself the best. And once I get my belly full, I don't give a damn about the rest. I don't know whether that phrase or a pose or whatever you call it, you English people, that's your business. Figure that out. But I just know it's a phrase that Liberian people say all the time too. And that's just another extension of the corruption of our society. When you stand up and say, I'm so selfish that when I get it, it's just for me. And I don't give a damn about anybody else. That's selfishness. First, we learn how to steal. We sing that. Then we learn how to lie on God, telling us that we should trust and don't pay and things like that. You see how our society just gradually became deeply corrupt under Tottenham? All these things came on from under Tottenham because the Liberian people knew that what Tottenham was doing with our money, giving it out every Saturday to pay friends, using it to buy a yacht, his private yacht, to take him all the place, to fix the road just to stop the Tottenham farm, the paved road, just to stop the Tottenham farm in Totota and nowhere else. And he would take the ship to go to his county in Maryland County, which was way in the southeastern region. That's why we have no roads in the southeastern region today. You would think that a president who loved our country and had his home in the southeastern region would build fantastic roads from Monrovia to the southeastern region so he can drive there with ease. Instead of that, he was taking his yacht and never took the road through our interior. So our interior remains underdeveloped today. You should hear my CEO in Ghana tell me when he rode the bike from Nima to Zedru in Grand Jila County. The stories he told me, my man, were horror stories. How to go on the road, the monkeys and all the things, baboons jumping over the trees while you're running the road, while the motorbike is going, because the road is all dirt road. So there are places, the forest cover the road to the extent that monkeys and baboons can jump from tree to tree over them. And he told me, he said, Daddy, it was an adventure, man. We're going through the forest and you hear the animals all over the place, and the motorbike hauling 7 hours on the back of a motorbike. He said when the ride started from Nima County, they went as far as Saclapia. That's the first stop. That's the first and final stop. He said when they stopped in Saclapia, the motorbike driver told them, you eat all you want to eat and you'll get something to drink because you can't be sober on that kind of ride. We're going for 7 hours, non-stop, on the back of a motorbike, 3 people. And he said they ate, he drank king juice, the motorbike driver drank king juice. He said, I want to keep me awake. My boy don't drink, so he drank his soda and thing. And they were on that bike for 7 hours. Can you imagine? 3 people on a motorcycle. He said they got some places in the mud they had to get down and cross for the motorbike to pass, up to their knees in the mud. When he got to Zedru on the bike, he was sick because of that drive, that long ride. He had never done it before. That's when he went to the hospital and they told him no medication, take some plums, and go home and eat and sleep. You see our country, my man? Our people are at the mercy of God. Our people are at the mercy of God. After our 1980 revolution, where we killed innocent people, man, we killed our leaders. We killed the brightest of our people. We could have punished them, yes. We could have punished them and use them to rehabilitate our country. But when we killed those people, man, we drove other people out of our country. Our government became a murderous government, and our government is still a murderous government today because we still got high school dropout and war laws and slum laws and zogos and backward people ruling our country today. How will not be backwards, man? We got to be backwards. And we're so backwards that even the educated people in our country are so immature and stupid. They can't help our country. They can't help our country because with this immaturity and gullibility comes selfishness and greed and lack of consciousness of your duties and responsibilities to the Republic of Liberia. That's what greed does. And that kind of greed, it make you lose your consciousness of understanding your duties and responsibilities as a man, not only to your family, but to your country. Because family is part of the country. That's the stepping stone to the country. You got the family, then the family grows into the community, then the community grows into society, then the society grows into the nation. So you have the different stepping stones that lead up to who we are today. And when you neglect any aspect of those fundamental steps to developing manhood, which leads to familyhood, which leads to nationhood, there's a problem somewhere in the line. Then there can be no good leadership. Because when steps are missing, or steps are not understood, and people just jump over steps. Because everybody that we got child, adolescent, we got child, teenager, adolescence, then we got adulthood. Those are stages in our life that determine our gullibility and responsibilities or not. That's why the law even recognizes that. That's why under the law you have years of majority and years of minority. Anything under 18 years old, they call it years of minority. That means your mind is not developed enough to understand certain things in life. So they only hold you responsible for those things that you can control as a minor, that big people can control too. That's where responsibility comes from minors. That's why you see they can charge some minors with murder. Or with any crime, you can charge a big person with why? Because that child is doing something that big people do too. And when that child is doing that thing and has responsibility that adults have, and they neglect or fail to do their duties or responsibility of care or whatever, they are held to the same standards as adults. Or they do criminal behaviors, they do criminal acts, and they know that handling those instrumentalities or doing what those adults do, you are held responsible for safety, people's safety, public safety, and all of that. And if you are negligent or you fail or maliciously do your work, you'll be held at the same standard as an adult who is doing like work. So that relates to people who are driving tractors or say cars on a farm. Say you got a farm, a big farm, and you know you don't have a driver license, but you're not driving on the street, you're driving on private property. So the police may not have so much forceful, authority in that range when it's on private property. People who have big farms, their children 10, 12 years old may be allowed to drive tractors or drive the pickups, not on the main road, but on the farm, because they got to do chores. And maybe some of the chores on the farm require them to drive, or they can use dolly carts and just put things on the Can-Am, to the new Can-Am mini carts. They can drive it. You see many little children driving those things on private properties and things like that, where they don't need license and things like that. So once you're doing that thing on your property and you injure people, or you cause harm to come to property or any kind of property, livestock, physical property, you are held responsible just as an adult driving the same thing you're driving. So if you're on a farm and every morning your job is to get up and plow the field with a tractor, and that's a job you also can hire somebody, a big person to do, driving the tractor, you know the tractor is a dangerous instrumentality. So if a kid can drive the tractor to do his chores, he can be held responsible for knowing safety standards and everything that responsible people who ride the tractors should know. Because if you got 3 children on the farm and they're of age where they can drive and understand how to drive tractors and things like that, why would you go hire people? Just teach them the rules of safety and how to securely handle and drive those things, and they can go ahead and do it. But just remember, when they have accidents or when they commit tortious acts or malicious acts, they are held to the same standards as adults who drive those same kind of equipment. So just remember that. And that's a law. So I'm just giving an example of the kind of responsibilities that are placed on minors too in our society who want to do things that grown people do, or who are given the responsibilities to do things that grown people do too. They are held to the same standard of care, of negligence, of torturous behaviors, etc. Okay, so they are all civil matters, except there's real malicious acts that take it out of the civil area and put it into the criminal area. Okay, so most of the things are thoughts. They come on them wrongful acts. Just understand that. So our country has been through its perils too. We've been through our infancy. We have existed for 175 years. And we can't get it right now. We ain't getting it right. That means we're just dumb. People, you want to suspend me or block me for all of that? Go ahead and block me. But that's the truth. The truth will set you free. Don't follow Mike Zuckerberg and all these people talking about hate. Why would I hate my own people? Huh? Maybe their culture to do that kind of thing, that's why they're using that thing as hate. When you tell your people they're gullible, they're backwards. And they are. They are. They don't want to hear it, so they won't suspend you or do this. Do it. Do it. But that's the truth. And I'm a man of the truth. I can't hide it. If it caused my people to rise, you got to hear it. I'm tired of my people being backwards. I'm tired of my people being gullible. I'm tired of my people being blind. It's not in our own best interest. It's not. It's not in our spiritual and mental interest. It's not. It's deceptive. Every time we lose our insightful and knowledgeable people, our society shrinks into oblivion. Every time it happens. Because young people, no matter what kind of education you got, if you got experienced people to guide you, the education means nothing. That trial and error. And for a nation, there are so many trials and errors you can have before the system breaks down completely. A nation is not a place to trial and error. No, that's why you need experienced people in government too. You need experienced people, but you don't need people that will be so prolonged in government that it will make our democracy stagnated. No, you don't want that. Our democracy got to breathe life. It got to breathe life all the time. That's why we need changes every 4 years, every 5 years, every 6 years. We need changes in the whole system so we can have people to come and implement our laws and policies and society, maybe in new ways, in better ways. But it's up to us to check on them so that we don't digress or regress or go back into time in our leadership functions. It's up to us. Because we vote our leaders into power. And if we are people who don't understand our own livelihood, we don't care about how we're surviving, we're depending on people for everything, how will we be able to challenge our leaders? And this is what happened in our country today. Because all the farmers understood that our government is responsible for the economic situation of their farm, of their status in our society, they would not be so happy with government right now. They would want this government change now. If all our religious people understood the magnitude of the murders and illicit killing that go on in our country, they will not be silent and sitting down waiting for 2023 for government to change. No. If our people themselves understood the economic hardship, and corrupt leadership with honor that has depleted our resources and dividing it among themselves, 30,000, 60,000 to go to private project, our people will rise up and tell George Weah to get out of our government now, resign or go to jail. But when in a society where our people are led by their noses and by their ears, we can't do nothing to change our society. All the talking are talking just going through one ear and it's being pulled because they're pulling them by the other ear. So it's just being pulled out of the other ear. But if our people become conscious and understand these things, they understand that after 175 years, if this leadership has not built our highway from Monrovia to Maryland County as yet, they need to go. They need to go. Then the road fund, you take it to pay people. That means our government is totally broken down. They can't raise salaries. The government is so useless, they can't raise salaries. They got to take money that are allocated for specific legal purposes to pay salaries. We can't go on like this. It will break us down. You know? It will break us down. And for our friends like America, you got to understand, man, we are pro-Americans. Mi casa, su casa. I'd rather you exploit me than the Chinese and the Japanese and the Russians and people that I don't know. But exploit me with love, man. Exploit me with love. Build my country. Don't let these bandits and useless criminals overrun my country. Don't let them do things they want to do with impunity. No. Look at our country today. How is people proud to say we Americans are part of America when our country looks like a damn dump? Feces all over the place. Nasty water. Trash. Then you got all these dummies dressing up in coat and tie, walking around like they bluffing, having a fashion show or something in shit and feces. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? So, America, you got a responsibility to us too. What has happened in the past can't go on. We are loyal to this country. We are patriots of America. And we have our home in Africa too, that our summer home too, you know. But our summer home can be better. For us who are going doing this, because right now, many of us can't go live in Liberia. No health care, no medical system, no good water, no light, no garbage collection system. Even that park they in, do they change that water in the park there? I wouldn't take my children to that park there. That water maybe just they're sitting there and everybody just go, baby, swimming in that same water. Or is there any proof that they change that water all the time? Or they got water coming in and out so there can be fresh water coming in there all the time? I bet right by now they got algae all on the walls and things to the bottom of that pool where they never change the water. You know our people, they build things and just let it stay there and rot. And our people go bathing all that water get out. Then you see half of the country getting sick, city getting sick because of something. But that's the thing there. Not hygienic. They just do things to do it and leave it alone. And wherever grow in the water, grow in the water. But You see, with that kind of life, how can someone else come home? Someone want help. But right now, I got to weigh whether I can live in Liberia or not. I can't. If I live in Liberia, I might as well sign my death warrant. That's a suicide thing. You know? That's suicide. The people living in Liberia under those conditions are used to it. They're used to it. So it's harder for them to get sick and things like that because they are conditioned to those kind of things. But people like us who've been abroad from Liberia for so long, used to health care, used to good society, drinking water, or safe drinking water, purified water, this water, that, we can buy our own water. Or you go to Liberia and start drinking that water, man, shit. Are you death one? Every water you drink at the body, you don't boil it, you make a mistake and just drink a cup of water a day, put it in the mouth now. Bam! You dead. I have some people who've been to Liberia and drank water, then what happened to them? They had all kind of things growing in their body when they came back home. Okay, and you know here, even though we have tropical doctors that know something about malaria, they're not that sophisticated. Malaria is not a big disease in America. So no big attention is paid to it, except in the southern area where it's hot and more tropical. Then they might know about malaria down there. Okay? And maybe the mosquito the Gaia are not the plasmodium carrying mosquitoes. The mosquito that gave us Africans malaria is a mosquito that carry plasmodium, something from the blood of people with that thing in it mixed with it. I don't know what it is, but it turns into plasmodium, that the thing they put in your system. When the mosquito bites you, it puts that in your body. It comes in the blood that they take from other people and mix in their system. And it turns into something they call plasmodium. And they put it in your, inject it through the needles. They stick it in your skin. And that thing goes in your body. And it forms. Now that what leads to the malaria. So I'm not that intricately knowledgeable about all that process. Over the years, I've left the medical field for so long. So, but I know it's plasmodium that causes malaria. It comes from the mixing of the blood of the sources that the mosquito get blood from. You know, when mosquito bite people, they're not biting one person. They're biting you, they're biting other people. So all of that blood go into the system and mixing and with the mosquito own blood and forming whatever it forms. So when it stick that thing into you, you don't know what's going into you. So it forms something that make you susceptible to some sickness. So that's it for that. But just to remind you, we got to take our lives and our system seriously. We got to take our country seriously. You young kids in Liberia got to strive to grow your mentality. Many of you are too young. You got to grow your mentality, even though you're educated. Education is not the only thing. You need to talk to people with experience. Talk to people who can guide you. Don't run from people who are educated. Even if they don't come to you, go to them. Go to them if you really want to learn something. Don't mind what they say. Don't mind what they say. You know how many people I've been to that told me all kind of shit that could turn me away from them? What you coming to me for? Why you got all the people? Why you go to them? You know what? Why you coming to me? Yeah? Huh? They will tell you all kind of things. Even they call you country. Even if they do this, accept it. Why? Because some of them testing you. Some of them testing you to see whether you're worth it enough for them to teach you. So they start, some of them may insult you, may say all kind of things to you. But you will know a man who really hit you from a man who just bullshitting with you. So, you know, if a man really hit you, He will show you he hate you. He will let you know he hate you. He don't want you around him. But if a man sitting down and talking with you and joking with you and calling you country boy and all of that, what you care? What you care? You want his knowledge. That's what it says, sticks and stones. Those are the kind of things you're supposed to learn. Those kind of phrases. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me. No, it can't hurt you physically. It can hurt your pride. It can hurt your feelings and all of that, but it can't hurt you. It can't break your bones. It can incapacitate you from doing what you can do as a man. No, it can mess with your mind if you let it mess with your mind. So those are kind of phrases we need to listen to and learn, because they are meaningful to us, that if we want to learn, we can't be proud and we can't be know-it-all. Sometimes that's why when Jesus, if you're a real Christian, you understand the teaching of Christianity. When our scriptures tell us, knock and it shall be open, seek and ye shall find, ask and it shall be. That teaching of Jesus Christ. Knock and it shall be open, ask and it shall be given, seek and you shall find. Sometimes when you're seeking, you got to go through hell to find. Have you watched the Indiana Jones movies? Watch them. See how you go find those things you need to find, how he goes through hell. Look at Mission Impossible. Look at all the movies, how everything they go to get. They got a plan and go through hell. It's the same thing with life. It's sometimes you got to go through hell. And sometimes you got to lay down your pride. You got to lay down your sense of manhood. Sometimes you got to lay it down. Say, I'm going out. I will do whatever it takes to get by, to take a step forward. And sometimes when you go, it's just a test. It's just a test. And if you're proud and pompous, you will lose. But if you're humble and you really want to learn, and you know that the source you at is the source that can give you what you want, you'll be submissive. You accept it and learn. Because you're knocking, you're seeking, and you're asking, and all of that is exemplified in your attitude, in your behavior, in your character. So you're doing three things right there in one. So now you come to an old man who's an old elder, and the man, you want something from him, and the old man can say, well, you come country boy want with me. What you want with me? Why you don't go to your country crowd people and all of that? And you get mad and say, look at the other come man to hell with you, and you walk away, you lose. You lose. Because that person may be testing you. That person may be testing you. So it's up to you sometimes to lay down your pride, to lay down your dignity for what you want. You know, that one sticks and stones can break my bones, and words can never hurt me. Really matters. Because you want what that man can give you: experience, knowledge, direction, guidance. And if you're not humble to get what you want, maybe that man said, you'll be so humble that man, he will feel shame for what he said or how he said it. And he will apologize to you. And what else you want from him than apology? What else you want? You don't want your money. You want your food. You want nothing else. Let him just say, I'm sorry I treated you wrong. Please forgive me. You know? You'll get it. But you know, you don't have anybody else in your family to guide you. You don't have none of your friends to guide you. You don't have no teacher that close to you that can guide you. And you see this man, you know he can guide you. You know that he knows. And you go and ask him, and he tries to insult you. But he's still talking to you. That means he doesn't hate you. He's testing you. Because if he hate you, he will not talk to you no more. He will tell you, get the hell out of my face. I don't want to talk to you. But if he's joking with you, and I say, well, what countryman like you want with me? And things like that, don't play the game. Don't be a fool. Joke with him too. And see where he will go. And sit with him. He will teach you. You know how many white people I came across in the country who say, my man, why you don't go to the black people there? Why you don't go? And I said, man, I'm coming to you, man. I want you to help me. My people, the people I know can't help me. You know? And the people will say, help me. They will help me. I don't care what they're saying, that the person that idiosyncrasies. You know? Except you personally hit me and tell me you get out of your face. I ain't getting out of your face. I ain't getting out of your face. That's your problem when you got problem with other black people. That's your problem. That's not my problem. My problem is I want my shit from you and you got it in your head. You got to share that shit with me. That's all I want. I don't care what your idiosyncrasies and problem with black people. I ain't got a problem with you. Man, you ain't got a problem. So you got a problem with black people, keep your problem. Tie that dog. You know, bro, just tie your dog. Your dog is your problem when you want to put it on me and you want bark. I mean, with your problem, I got this problem. No, tie your dog. Your problem is not my problem. You got a problem with black people, take it to black people. I come to you with my problem. I care what you care about black people. Do you hate me like that? If you say I hate you like that, I will leave you. You can say all you want to say about black people. I come to you. Hey, I'm a black man. I ain't care what you care. I don't need your help. Can you help me? You want to talk? You can say all what you want to say about black people. Can you help me? That's all I want to know. And that's how I succeeded. That's how I succeeded. They're not sucking up to people. You're not sucking up. I just don't have time for your bullshit. I don't have time for your racist bullshit. I don't have time for your personal idiosyncrasy. If I want to learn, I want to learn. Can you teach me? That's all I want to know. Can you teach me honestly and fairly? That's what I want to know. And you do it, I get what your problem. Everybody got their problems. You know what I mean? Problem coming from? Some black people have done some wicked things to some white people, and they get pissed off about it. You can't blame them. But I just don't want them to hold it against me when they got something that they can help me better my life with. You know, everybody got problems. I knew a white woman long ago. She was very nice. This woman was very nice. She was very nice. But there was something about her with black people. But every time I went to her, she was always nice to me. But I would see her relate to other people, and I couldn't understand. She wasn't mean or anything. She just avoided people, black people. She just didn't want nothing to do with them. But she had to deal with me. I was an officer, so I come to her to talk, we'll talk. Then one day, she opened up to me. And she said, Jefferson, you know why I don't like to deal with too much black people? She said, it's not because you did anything to me. She said, but a black man raped a close friend of mine, and he went to jail and said all kind of stupid things about her. So she was close to me and really hurt me. And she took her life or something like that because of that. So I understood where she was coming from. So I said, I understand where you're coming from. It's hurtful, you know, when people do that. And some people commit crimes, they don't care about it, who they commit crime to, on, or with, by, or whatever. They just say, oh, I committed a crime, so what? Let society handle it. And those things hurt people. It hurt people. And people carry those things with them. Well, a closure sometimes. And for people like us who don't care about other people's feelings and how you feel about racism and all that, I don't care. My job is to do my job. To be fair, firm, and consistent. I don't care about your idiosyncrasies. Once they don't impede my job and my duties, I don't care about it. But when it starts to impede, then I want to know why. Hey, stop. Let's talk about this thing first before I punish you. Give you a shot. Okay? So that's how it works, man. And the same thing that works in our country. Too many people died because of our 1980 revolution. And we can't let it die. It wasn't a Dole thing. It was the Liberian people thing. After Dole came to power, the Liberian people rejoiced because Barker's Matthew then started the process. And that, because of the prosecution by the government or these people, that one made the military come in to stop it. But it wasn't the Dole thing. It's the Liberian people thing. So let's claim it and stand up to implement the goals. Our revolution was taking off its goals. It's to help our society, to change our people and punish the rogues and murderers and criminals. The time of Liberian people is now. Aluta continua. My class is done. Have a good day. Take heed and govern yourselves accordingly. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Same time, same place.